This video is brought to you via Drug Mountain. Ashaya Soul of the Wild versus Captain Sisay with a... I was going to say a good opening hand. It might be a good opening hand. We'll try that thanks to the Mana Crypt. If our opponent gets off to a fast start, we can go for Song of the Dryads onto their commander at least. They start things off with a Cavern of Souls, naming Cat intriguingly, so they might have gone for that many legendary cats that they can go for with Captain Sisay. Anyway, we've got a turn 4 play here for the Guardian Project. And we're still hoping for a land at this point so that we can go for setting up with Nissa Vital Force to give us landfall, draw a card for the rest of the game. And it is Jolreal Monvuli Recluse, which will make cat tokens, so they might have gone for cat tribal here. And no land for us, unfortunately, so we might as well just get out the Oblivion Stone, save us casting it later on. Our opponent pings us for 1 and then goes in for Sword of Feast and Famine. And we'll continue to keep our fingers crossed. We win the flip, but do not get into a land. Let's play the Earth Surge. Going for an equip onto their Jolreal, and they are going to force us to discard here as well as untap their lands. We'll just get rid of the Genesis Wave because we're nowhere close to that at the moment. Then it is an uncounterable cat in Sky Hunter Skirmisher, so that's going to rip our hand to pieces in no time because it's an evasive creature with double strike. Still not getting into a land. We can at least get rid of Sword of Feast and Famine though. Yeah, this is pretty annoying, isn't it? Alright, deciding to spend the mana on equipping that for the sake of double strike, which means that they didn't get down their commander this turn. Now let's just hope they don't have Heroic Intervention. They swinging at us. We'll go for Nature's Law, or Nature's Claim even, in response to that. And successfully managing to destroy that thing. Now a Jitte as well. Don't think we need to worry about Umezawa's Jitte too much in this deck. Alright, well, Beast Within for if we do get worried about it. I think I'm going to go for... Yeah, I think we'll just go for Beast Within on our opponent's turn onto the Jitte. We'll make them equip it again. We'll get into a land eventually, I'm sure. Jitte goes on there. They've gotten down a Nykthos, by the way. And then swinging in again, so let's go Beast Within onto the Jitte before they get a bunch of counters on there. And it's round to our turn. Alright, well, Soul Ring. I mean, it's not a land, is it? But it's more mana for us, which is what we need at the moment. So, we'll go for that. And let's get down our commander. And that draws us a card with the Guardian Project, which I'm sure is going to be a land, and there you go. Typical. Anyway, we get to play a land this turn at least, so let's leave our 6/6 in play. And pass the turn over. Sword of Light and Shadow now, and they can actually swing in with that after it's been equipped this turn. Not really worried about Sword of Light and Shadow, they can't get anything out of the graveyard with it. Does mean that we're going down to 10 this turn though, so we might have to go for Song of the Dryads onto the double striker. That'll free us up to get down Nissa as well. So we go down to 10, our opponent is up to 40. And we need to start worrying about Mana Crypt now. Luckily we won that one. Alright, Swiftfoot Boot, still not a land. Do we go for Nissa Vital Force now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 floating. And then we can untap a land, tap it into Nykthos. We'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 mana back. No, I think we do it the other way around. Let's go Song of the Dryads onto the double striker first. And then we'll go for the green mana with Nykthos. And that's 5 mana. And we'll play out Nissa and get another blocker into play by untapping our forest. And that will be a 7/7 forest, thanks to the Earth Surge. Yeah, and I think we just need to hold back at this point because our opponent can swing in with the sword equipped. And we need to be very careful about how much damage we take, thanks to the mana crypt. Well, this is a big cat they're getting into. That is 5 mana that they've tapped down. And 6 for Nezaham, Revered Bladesmith. So they've obviously gone for some kind of Leonin equipment deck. Yeah, and the Hammer of Nazan is going to be really tricky for us to deal with. Putting the Hammer onto Nazan. And passing the turn at that, we need to start thinking about Oblivion Stone, really. Let's see if we get bolted. We win the flip again. And now getting into a land, so let's go for the minus on Nissa. If we go for Oblivion Stone, we'd lose her anyway. Play a land, which we'll draw as a card. Okay, Wilderness Reclamation. We're not really getting into creatures here, unfortunately. We're not getting into ramp either. Let's go like this and draw some cards, see if we can do anything before we get smashed. Okay, Incubation Druid, a Finale of Devastation, Nyx Bloom Ancient. I think we've just been too slow here. Let's make some green mana. And we'll go for Incubation Druid to draw another card and get a blocker into play. And all our creatures count as lands, so we drew off of the Nissa emblem as well. Let's go Cultivate. And that will get another land into play for us. Which will draw as a card with Nissa, and we get into a land again. I think we're just discarding a lot of these lands at this point. Yeah, maybe we have to go for Reclamation Sage with Finale of Devastation. Anyway, we'll see if we survive until next turn. If we manage to survive long enough, Avenger of Zendikar next turn, then Finale of Devastation where X is 10. If we can generate enough mana to do that, that might be good. Alright, spreading the threats around by going for the sword onto Jolriel. And they're going to hit us for 3 here. Oh, actually, I didn't realise that this got to tap things down. Whenever an equipped creature you control attacks, you can tap a target creature defending player control, so our opponent's got us here. We've been way too slow. Even with drawing all the cards that we did in the end, I don't think we still didn't do very well. So yeah, our opponent got us fair and square. Good for them for sticking it out. Usually, well not usually, but a lot of the times when people see Mana Crypts and Sol Rings, they just scoop immediately. Yeah, had we have gotten into a land within the first few turns, then we would have done a hell of a lot better there, but yeah, that's just how it goes. So, good for our opponent. On to the next one. My opponent and I decided to have a rematch, so yeah, very much liking that hand compared to the last one. Well, actually, I liked the last hand, but we just couldn't get into lands. We're going to do much better on mana this time, and we are on the draw as well. Boreal Druid, get into one of our early turn mana dorks. Was going to play the Shadow Spear, because if they point removal at that, then so be it. They go for Thaumatic Compass, a little bit slow for 1v1, but people really like this in multiplayer. I've never played with it personally. Let's get ourselves into a Cultivate. And already we're doing way better than we did in the last game. Our opponent just plays out a third land. They're probably going in for the Thaumatic Compass. Let's drop a land. We'll go for Selvala, which should be able to tap for a lot of mana next turn. Because we'll probably get down our commander. Might go for Soul of the Harvest first. Our opponent, in response to Selvala, goes for a basic Plains. And they play the same Plains. Okay, here we go. Unlike last time, our opponent didn't play Captain Sisay, so we'll see what exactly their aim is here. 3 visits. We can go... Yeah, we might as well go for Soul of the Harvest here, I think. And that will draw us a card. Get into Beastcaller Savant. Play a land. Tap down the Selvala. That gets us into 6 mana. So we can go 3 visits. And that'll take us up a card, or up a land. And then we can go for our commander. And that will draw us off of the Soul of the Harvest. Yeah, so there we are. Selvala will draw us as well, I think. Yep, because that's an 11/11. So this is how the deck is supposed to run. And we didn't even use fast mana to do it. Give our opponent a shot with tutoring on the Captain Sisay. We get into Nykthos, so we're going to be able to generate a ton of mana next turn. Probably go for the Avenger first. Okay, that's a shame. Swords to Plowshares on our card draw. And then going for Eternal Witness for Swords to Plowshares again. Be intrigued to see if they go for Ashaya or Selvala here. They go after Selvala. I think that's the right choice. Okay, another dork for us. We're on 6, 7 and 8. Yeah, let's just go like this. And go for Avenger of Zendikar. Oh, and I stacked those in the wrong order. When it enters with our Ashaya in play, it counts itself as a land, so landfall triggers on itself entering. So we'll get a bunch of plus counters on plants, but we don't actually control any yet because I stacked that incorrectly. Now we get the plants, let's drop the Nykthos, and now we can start getting plus counters on all of them. We could... yeah, I don't think I particularly care about getting the Shadow Spear into play. Let's go for the Beastcaller Savant, and that has haste. It will also trigger landfall. So we can tap that down for green, play the Llanowar Elves, and put a bunch more plus counters on the plants, so our opponent wants a... yeah, they want a board wipe at this point, really. Let's encourage them to chump with the Eternal Witness. Alright, now they need a big blocker in play as well, or to wipe the board, because we're going to have trample on this thing next turn. Also, we're pretty much going wide with the plants. Let's see if they've got some kind of board wipe they can go for with Sisay. There's the Urza's legendary thing. No, they just went for Gaia's Cradle. With only one creature in play. Regal Caracal from our opponent. I was worried that was Urza's Ruinous Blast there. Now the Gaia's Cradle will tap for a lot of mana. And they go for Captain Sisay. And now they've gone for the Hammer of Nazan. So that will come down and make something indestructible. Here we are. I don't think that has lifelink, does it? No, it gives other cats lifelink, but it doesn't have it itself. Not really worried about that here. I think we're just going to go wide on our opponent. There's something fun you can do with Vesuva in this deck, so let's go for that here. And we'll make it a copy of Avenger of Zendikar. Now let's... and our opponent doesn't want to sit through it clearly, but yeah, we put the plus counters on the stack first. Plus counters from the copy of Avenger of Zendikar, and then have the plant tokens resolve first, unlike last time. Get a bunch of plants into play, and then plus counters on all of our plants twice, thanks to having 2 Avenger of Zendikars with Vesuva. Would have just gone for Shadow Spear onto Ashaya there, and then turned all the plants and Ashaya in sideways at our opponent. Fortunately for us, this seems to be a more casual Sisay build. Anyone else would have gone for Urza's Ruinous Blast there, and I have no idea what we would have done in response to that. Well, there's Oblivion Stone. Maybe could have dragged the game out long enough to go for Song of the Dryads onto their commander. Yeah, so who knows? Well, I hope I'm not pestering my opponent, but I thought it'd be fun to get a tiebreaker, or end the tiebreaker, I should say. And yeah, get a game going for a third time here. And we'll see who reigns supreme in this best of 3. Miri's Guile is a really good one. We will start things off with a Findhorn Elves. Then it's a bounce land from our opponent, not getting off to too fast a start, thankfully for us. We get Earth Surge, I think. Yeah, we could go Vesuva onto the bounce land to guarantee land drops. So let's go for the Nature's Law here. Grab ourselves a forest, and then there's not another 2-drop to make, is there? So, yeah, let's go for the bounce land here. And we'll return a forest to hand, and that can be our turn. Nothing to do on turn 3, apparently. We get into another forest, so let's drop that. And we'll try and set up some infinite mana across the next turn or so. Yeah, let's just go for the Argothian Elder. And then might as well swing in for 1 at our opponent. And there we are, we see Captain Sisay from our opponent. Might be worth setting up the Oblivion Stone. with the Ashaya. I think we're going to go for Ashaya here. Thespian Stage might be worth going for something with. Yeah, but we're not going to do anything with it here. Let's just drop a forest, go for Ashaya. And then we'll untap the Bounce Land and the Argothian Elder. Tap it for mana. And I'm sure you can all work out this combo. This is infinite mana. So let's just drop ourselves the Oblivion Stone. And we won't bother going for anything else, I don't think, because we might just wipe the board next turn, I think. We'll see what our opponent decides to do. Temple of the False God from our opponent. They're a land away from that, unfortunately. Going for Harrow, which will take them up to the 5 lands that they need for the temple. Harrow brings the lands in untapped as well. They grab themselves a couple of plains. And not going for anything with Captain Sisay this turn, apparently. So let's make the 5 mana that we need. And we'll destroy each non-land permanent and just hope that our opponent doesn't have removal for Ashaya in response. Be funny if they did. Got 5 cards in hand, there's every chance. Going for a search in response. And that is Ajani Unyielding that they will be able to cast next turn. Get them into some card advantage. Losing their enchantment and their Captain Sisay. And we just get into another forest. I think we're okay going for Earth Surge at this point. Kudos to my opponent for playing the game out here, by the way. I know infinite mana can be a bit obnoxious, but we are being fast with it in all fairness. So let's drop the Earth Surge. And I think we'll drop Great Henge as well. So we'll go for that here. And then we'll just play the Thespian Stage. Don't really have anything to copy with it yet. Swing in with a 10-10 and a 3-3. They are going to be able to exile. They'll probably go after the Argothian Elder, I would think. Oh, they might have something here, actually. Okay, sets Tiger. Protection from a colour of your choice until the end of the turn. So they can just let this through and not take any damage. Alright, the Tiger blocks our Mana Dork. That's fine, we've got infinite mana. If our opponent does go for Ajani Unyielding, exiling one of our creatures, we can make a copy of whatever they target with the Thespian Stage. And at least they'll be ticking down to do it. So there it is. Yep, they decide to go for that, so let's go for Great Henge. Thespian Stage can become a copy of Argothian Elder. And then they can exile that Argothian Elder if they want to. And this is all well and good with infinite mana, but we need to, we need to not draw into lands. Let's play that one to buff our commander. We'll swing that one in at Ajani, that one in at our opponent. And they've still got 5 cards in hand, 6 now at the beginning of the turn. Yeah, they've got a clock that they need to adhere to because we are going to get them on commander damage if they're not careful, but it'd be nice to draw into something other than lands. Kodama's Reach for them. And then a Hunting Cheetah. When it deals damage to an opponent, you can search your library for a forest and put it into your hand. Fair enough. That's just a chump blocker at this point, really. At the end of our opponent's turn, we'll tap the Great Henge because it gains us 2 life. And another land for us. Excellent. So, drop a forest. Yeah, our opponent might be able to just chump block us all day, which... yeah, we might chip away at them eventually, but we want to be winning faster than this. Might have to include more trample effects. Nylea and Rancor and the like. E-Witness goes on. Do they have any removal? They might just go for the Ajani. And they do. They can cast it here. So down comes Ajani. Okay, exiling that thing again. Can we have this become a copy of a land? Yes, we can, but it needs to be untapped. That's one thing that we need to consider. Yeah, we could have had this become a copy of the Temple of the False God or something, and it would have become an illegal target. Oh well. We lose our infinite mana. It's not like we have anything to do with it anyway. Watch us draw into Genesis Wave now. Oh well, Nissa, Vital Force, that'll do. We'll go like this. Untap a forest. Play a forest. And then we'll swing into Ajani with the forest and our opponent with our commander. They'll be down to 19 commander damage. Now they're considering whether they want to block or not, because if they don't block, then they can swing in at Nissa and have us not get the limit break. I'm just happy to use Nissa to make creatures at this point. And there we go. They are letting their Ajani go down. They go up to 19 commander damage, down to 6 life. Now, Tajnar Swordsmith. When it enters, you can pay X. If you do, search your library for an equipment. Put it onto the battlefield and shuffle your library. Let's see if they go for the hammer again. That will give them... well, they'll be able to block forever if they get the hammer again. And I think that's 3. Okay, instead going for the Sword of Feast and Famine, so they'll be able to hit Nissa for a big chunk here. They'll be able to leave a blocker back that's got protection from green as well. I don't think the creature lands become... yeah, they're still colourless. So they won't have protection from the lands, but they will be able to protect from our commander. Deciding to tap down the Eternal Witness. Yeah, we'll still be able to go wide on them here. They're hitting us anyway, not the Planeswalker. So forcing us to discard an Ancient Tomb. Not really bothered about that. But they do get to untap all of their stuff, so that means they get more blockers into play potentially. Oh no, not doing anything with the mana, that's surprising. I thought they'd at least get their commander into play there. Well, there's that Genesis wave. Let's tap a land for mana and then untap it with Nissa. And we'll go Great Henge and we'll just tap out into this Genesis wave. You never know, we might get into something that will help us win this one. Alright, and our opponent maybe misplayed there, not getting another blocker into play. They could have gotten their commander in. As it stands now, we just go wide on them. Let's see. I don't know how much X would have been there, but let's just look at the top cards. Yeah, wouldn't you know it? A bunch of lands. Big surprise. Yeah, wasn't really getting into much of anything there. Needs more evasion. I think we've got plenty of ramp, plenty of dorks and weenies. I forget what this does, actually. Oh yeah, we choose land with this and we can untap all of our lands and creatures, and our opponents can only untap one of the things that they select, so that's what the storage matrix is in here for. Anyway, some changes to be made, I think. We will go over to the deck list now and see if we can add some more trample and evasion. Alright, so looking at the deck list here, for 1v1, I'm thinking Whisper Silk Cloak is a bit slow. Yeah, and every time I draw into Nyxbloom Ancient, I'm not really bothered either. I'd rather just be able to turn sideways and hit my opponent. So let's put Rancor in that place. And then Whisper Silk Cloak does get us there. There's the boots that we can go for that give a non-basic land walk, but that's only 1 extra mana. And it does give Shroud, which could be useful. So in that case, I might get rid of Acidic Slime, as good a card as it is. Might just get rid of Acidic Slime for something like Nylea. Nylea is really difficult to get rid of, and it's a trample enabler as well. And if we've got a surplus of mana, then we can buff our creatures as well. So let's try that in there. It's a little bit better on curve as well. Still a bit of a big curve for 1v1, but we've got a lot of dorks and a lot of mana acceleration in here, as well as 38 lands. So only a couple of changes there, but I think I will leave it at that. Be sure to let me know if you want to see more from this deck, and we will try it again with the slight changes we've made next time. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.